Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Devin Sears, and I'm joined by my colleague, Nate Page. And today we are talking about Google Analytics and how to turn data into smart website decisions. So, if you have a website and if you have traffic that you're trying to convert, or if you're trying to get more visitors, it's insanely helpful if you know where those visitors are coming from. But before we get too much into the content, we've got a couple housekeeping things. As I mentioned today, we're joined by Nate Page. He is one of our SEO data analysts here at Bluehost. And so he is very familiar with SEO. He's very familiar with with data analysis. And so we are very lucky to have him to walk us through how to get the most out of the data that we see for our websites. And as always, I am your co-host, Devin Sears. I'm the Senior Field Marketing Manager, and we are thrilled to have you joining us today. So before we jump into the content, there are a few housekeeping items I'd like to get into. The first one, if you can hear us, please find the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. And also, if you have any questions about data and tracking and how to leverage that, we'll do our best to answer those as we go throughout the webinar. But that also lets us know that the audio is transmitting and that you have found our chat. If you found our chat, next to that, there's a small tab that says Q&A. If you have questions, I'd suggest dropping them in there. If you want, you can put it in the chat. I might move it to the Q&A tab, but the Q&A gives us a chance to have a little bit more of a back and forth than just the regular chat does. If you have any technical issues as the webinar goes on, I recommend just closing out and rejoining. If that doesn't work, ping me in the chat and let me know. I can do the best that I can to help troubleshoot it. We are going to be sending out a replay link 24 to 48 hours after the webinar is done. So if you do need to leave at any reason, or if you do have a technical issue, then don't worry. We'll make sure that we send out a recording that you can go back and watch and still get all the information that you want out of this webinar. If you're tuning in from a mobile device, you need to click somewhere on the screen in order to unmute the stream. I don't know why that is like that, but that's how it works on a mobile device. So that's the housekeeping out of the way. As I mentioned, we will be sending out a replay link. That is our number one question that we always get asked, and I'm sure we will still be asked today, even though I'm going to say a handful of times we are going to be sending out a replay link. With that, let's jump back into the content with today's quote of the webinar. And that is, Google Analytics is like a gym membership. Most people have it, but only a few use it. Today, we're going to change that. And I'm very excited to have Nate joining us here today to talk about how to get the most out of that. One other housekeeping item that I forgot, I will be off camera and off mic trying my best to answer your questions as they come through chat and Q&A. If there are questions that I don't know the answer to or that I think the larger group would benefit from, I'm going to hold those for the end, and we'll have a Q&A at the end with myself and Nate. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. There's no bad questions. And we want to make sure that this is educational and engaging for you. So with that, Nate, let's get to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Devin. So what we'll be covering is why analytics matters, give you a little introduction to GA4 and why it's different than GA3, how you can understand your audience, tracking engagement on your website, measuring conversions on your website, and then how do we take that data that we have to and how do we make decisions on that data. And then the playbook for beginners, and then we'll also have a Q&A at the end. So first thing, why does analytics matter? And data reveals what's really going on in your site. It tells you the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how much, how many. I can keep on going. But based off of those questions that you're asking your data, you're going to be able to get smarter insights, and you're also going to be able to make smarter changes to your website. That's ultimately going to get you more conversions, increase your conversion rates, ultimately, bring in more leads, bring in more revenue, and that's what we want, right? So introducing GA4 and how it's different from GA3. So GA3 was mostly built for websites, and it doesn't handle apps or complex user journeys that a lot is happening right now. Like, a lot of people will come in from a Facebook ad, they'll see the Facebook ad, maybe they'll type in your name, type in the name of your brand on Google, show up organically. But like all these different touch points that you have with these different users, these different individuals, GA3 wasn't able to do a good job of that. Now GA4 was built for both websites and applications. So now even if you have a website and an app, you can do cross domain tracking. You can see how they're performing with your website, with your application, so on and so forth. So now you can get deeper insights on how people actually use your stuff compared to GA3, where it was very surface level. So with that being said, I'm going to switch over to my screen and now give you a walkthrough of GA4. And I'm going to be sharing my screen and going through all this with you in a second. So now you can see the homepage of GA4. Now this is a demo account, so yours may look a little bit different than mine. You may also be able to do a lot more in your GA4 account than the demo account that you're seeing. Now on the homepage, you are going to see your active users, event count. You can change these things if you would like. It usually defaults to the last 7 days, just to give you a high level overview of your website performance over the last several days. And then it also gives you a view of real time. Now, what I'm going to go over first, I'm going to go over who are your users, where are they coming from, and that's like I said, understanding your audience. So here on the left-hand side, you can see home, reports, explore, advertising. So home is what you're seeing right now. Reports is what we're about to get into, where we can see that information so you can understand your audience. Explore allows you to build reports, and then advertising allows you to connect different platforms such as Google Ads to your website, and you can see how your advertising is performing. So let me go into reports so we can have a better understanding of our audience. Now, the first question that you're probably asking, that you're going to ask yourself is, hey, where is my traffic coming from? Well, in acquisition, you can see that information. So in overview, you can get a quick summary of like where your users are coming from and what's it looking like in real time. So you see where your top countries are, what channels they're coming through, maybe even what campaigns that they're coming through, so on and so forth. To get a little bit more detailed from the overview, we're going to go to traffic acquisition. Now, traffic acquisition is based on the number of sessions that are happening on your site. A session is usually timed by 30 minutes, so it's measuring activity for a particular user within that 30-minute time frame, and it also tells you where they're coming from. So the first thing you're going to see is sessions by channel group. Now, this is the larger structure when it comes to where your users are coming from. So there's channel, there's medium, and then there's source. So channel is what you see here. So we have direct, organic search, paid search, unassigned, referral, so on and so forth. When it comes to medium, we are going to get a little bit more detailed. So you saw me click on the drop down and change it to medium. So now we get more detailed, where it's like, hey, we're seeing CPC, we're seeing referral, and we're also seeing other. Now, the next level is source. So if I click on source, we can see what sources people are coming from. So you can see here, people are coming from Google, sites.google.com. Some people are coming from Bing. Right now, you're seeing 1 through 10 of 97, so there are a lot more. You click on that drop down, I switched it to 100, and now you can see even more sources that people are coming from. And these sources are sorted into mediums, and then those mediums are sorted into channels. So that gives you an idea of where individuals are coming from. Now, you can also ask yourself, hey, what devices are individuals coming from? And we're going to go out of acquisition, and we're actually going to go into tech. And tech will allow you to see what devices individuals are coming on. So right now it's default it defaults to browser, so you can see browser performance. You can also see device category, device model, screen resolution, platform, all that good stuff. As I said, we want to see, hey, what devices people are coming through to the site on. And right now you can see desktop, mobile, tablet, smart TV. Those are the main four that you'll see in device category. And as you saw in traffic acquisition, you can see users, sessions, engagement rate, engaged online sessions, average engagement time, events, and then key events, and then total revenue. So to get into a little tangent about some of these metrics. So you are going to see different metrics depending on what you're looking at. So you're usually going to see users, and then within users have sessions, and then within sessions there's different page views and events that happen. There are actually events in GA4 that a page view is considered an event in GA4, whereas in GA3 it was just a page view. Because of GA4 being used for web applications now, a page view is now considered an event. So you're going to see users, sessions, and then the different events that occur on a website. Now that is the different devices. Now let's go into demographics. So if we go into user attributes, we can go into demographic details. And here is what we're able to see information by country, for example. So you can see here it's broken down by United States, India, Canada, China, so on and so forth. And you can also break it down by region, depending on where you're at. In the US, it would be states. So you can now see, hey, California, New York, Washington, Texas, so on. And we also have city, language, age, gender, and interest. So this is really valuable information to see what countries are bringing in the most revenue, what regions, what cities, and then age and gender. So that is where you're going to see demographic details. So I just went into the first question of like, hey, where are my users coming from? And how are they getting there? Are they getting through a Facebook ad? Are they coming through on mobile? And then I'm also answering the question of, hey, what does our audience look like? Where are they located? And then what age, what gender are they? So that's the first section for Google Analytics. The next section I want to go over with you is the top pages and events. So this is like, hey, how are my top pages performing? How are my landing pages performing? How are my conversion pages performance? Things like that. So we were in acquisition within reports. Now we're going to move into engagement. So if we go to the overview, you can see things like user engagement time, online sessions per user, how many views a page is getting, the number of events that are happening on these pages, your top pages. You're not only able to break it down by URL, but you're also able to break it down by page title as well. So this is what you're going to see on the engagement overview. Now, to get a little bit more detailed, we're going to look at events first. So with these events that are happening, this demo accounts a merch shop. So you're going to be seeing a lot of e-commerce events like, viewed product, viewed item, added item to cart, and ultimately purchase. And so you're going to see that here in the event count. So we have the event name, we have the event count, we have the number of users that had those events fire off, and then we're seeing the event count per user and then revenue. So if I was to sort this by total revenue, obviously the let's see if I can sort this. There we go. You're able to see the event that's going to bring in the most revenue is obviously purchase. So, but you're also going to see like view item, how many people viewed an item, how many people viewed a promotion. Here, and let me extend this a little bit more. Add to cart, view cart, begin checkout. You can see what information you can get here when it comes to the different events that are happening on your site. Now, if you are not an e-commerce site and you're maybe a blog site, or maybe you are a SaaS website, and you're looking at leads, or you're looking at people who maybe clicked on affiliate links on your blog, this is where those events are going to show up. So it's not just e-commerce events you're going to see here. This is just the demo with the e-commerce merch shop that GA4 has as a demo, but you are able to see more things when it comes to a blog website or even a SaaS website. The next thing I wanted to get into is pages and screens. So if I go over here, we're going to see the performance for the different pages. So you're going to see how many views the home page, for example, gets, the checkout page, and you're going to see active users. You're going to see the event count, and we can also see how many, depending on what event you're interested in, you can see how much of a particular event is firing on that page. And then key events, you can also see that as well. And I guess I should tell you a little bit more about what's an event versus a key event. An event is something that you would like to track on the site. Let's just say you're an e-commerce site and you have maybe a 10% pop-up promo code. Well, you can set that up as an event that you want to track, and then you can also set up a purchase event as a key event. So you have your secondary events, and then you have your key events, which is ultimately a purchase that you want to have set as your key event. So that is the difference between a regular event and a key event. But all events can be turned into a key event if you want to. Now going down into landing page. Now there is a difference between pages and screens. So pages can be any page that is visited within that 30-minute session that I mentioned earlier. Whereas a landing page is what an individual landed on when they first visited your site. So you're going to get a lot more information from the ads that you run in this landing page section of your site. So you can see the different landing pages here, and you can see how many sessions happened with that landing page, how many active users, new users, and then the average engagement during that session for that landing page. Average online session engagement is really valuable when you're trying to figure out when people get to the landing page, are they engaging with the site at a rate that we want to. Now, there is no silver bullet number for average online session engagement or average engagement time. But if you do see it increasing, that's a positive sign that people are surfing your site and maybe they're finding the information they need. If you see it decreasing and you see the session time decreasing, that can mean that, hey, I'm not finding what I'm on the site, so I'm leaving. So that can give you a good insight on what is going on with your site based off of the landing page. You can also see key events, and you can also see a revenue associated with that landing page. So let's say that you're doing a Facebook ad with a certain product, and let's just say, for example, bags. Like you're seeing a lot of people land on bags and ultimately making a purchase from looking at those different bags that they saw. Well, you can measure the revenue of that landing page within Google Analytics, and it will tell you, hey, this is how much revenue you made from that landing page. So that is top pages and events. I do have there is looks like there is conversions and event name here. This does look like to be a custom field, but you can also see what's associated with what's associated with purchases here. So if I sorted this by revenue, you can see how many purchases, the purchases that happen and what channel those purchases happen to by session, source, medium, which we discussed earlier. So it's like the question that this will answer is like, hey, you made 78,000 from organic, over the last 28 days. And to bring and to touch on the date a little bit, you can compare. So this date that you see at the top is showing the last 28 days. If you click on the drop down, you are able to compare, last 28 days to the previous 28 days or to the previous year. You can also set custom date ranges for both as well. So if I click apply, you can see that there was for example, for direct, there was a 1% increase in purchase events, but there was a 14% increase in revenue. For organic, 21% increase in traffic there, 2% increase in revenue. So that's the insights you can get from comparing date ranges as well. So that's engagement. And then that was acquisition. The next thing to go over is, hey, if you're an e-commerce site, what are our top products and how are those products performing? Well, that will be in the monetization tab. And you can go to overview and it'll give you an overview of how your products are performing. So now you can see total revenue. You can see how many purchases happen. You can see how many first-time purchasers you had, and the average revenue per user, items purchased. You can see all of that in the overview page. Now, if you want to get into more detail, you go to the e-commerce purchases page, and you'll see what purchases happen. Here, let me turn off that compare. So now you can see based on item, this is answering the question, which items are performing the best when it comes to the number, how many times it's been viewed, how many times it's been added to cart, how many times it's been purchased, and ultimately revenue. So you can see the item name, the top item for the merch shop is Chrome Dino Festive Frost Sweater. And you can see how many times it's been viewed, added to cart, so on and so forth. This is really valuable in figuring out what products are the top. But with this plus sign, you can also figure out what channels, what sources, and what different mediums. There's also some other things that you can do, but I will show you default channel group. So I'm gonna just show Chrome Dino right now. So now you can see for that Chrome Dino Festive Frost Sweater, now we're getting a little bit more detailed, and now we're seeing how that was divvied up. So 8,000 through direct, 3,000 through organic search, 6,000 through email, and you see as we move further down what is also bringing in. What channels are also bringing in. We can also do this by source medium, where we can see, hey, this newsletter, it did pretty well. I got 6,000. Then we have Google CPC. It brought in about 2,000. So you can get more detailed by clicking the plus sign and breaking it down by channel, by source, and also by medium. And for additional reference, you can also do this for engagement for pages and screens. If you really wanted to, you can break that down by device as well, where you click that little plus sign, you click on device category, and you can also break down how the pages are performing by device as well. Same thing for traffic acquisition too. Click that plus sign, you can do the same thing. So just a little tidbit there, since I was thinking about it in the e-commerce overview. So going back to monetization, you can see within the purchase, you can see the purchase journey. So this is what's going to be interesting to a lot of individuals who have a funnel. So you can see how many session starts happen, how many people viewed a product, how many added a cart, began the checkout, and ultimately made a purchase. So you can see what is happening at each step of the funnel, and if things are changing, maybe you're seeing a decrease, maybe more people are adding a product to their cart, but less are checking out. This will give you that insight of how it's happening. You could break it down by desktop, as you see here. So you're able to see that as well. You're also able to break it down by country, region, city, browser. So this will also give you information on that purchase journey. Checkout journey as well. If you have these events set up, you can see, hey, they began to check out, they added their shipping, they added their payment, ultimately made a purchase. You can see that that customer journey as well. There's also promotions, so you can keep track of how promotions are performing and how they're doing over time. The promotion name, you can have the ID, you can have the creative name, but you're able to see how many people clicked on the promotion or viewed the promotion and checked out, and how much they ultimately saved on the promotion. And then transactions is just showing the different trend, the number of transactions that are happening, and then the transaction ID. So this information is valuable if you want to see, hey, what different products are associated with those transaction IDs. So that is an overview of product performance. It can give you a pretty good insight on, hey, how are my products performing? Where are people purchasing my products? What channels are they purchasing their products through? What devices they're purchasing on? Things like that. Yeah. So we do have a little bit of time, so I do want to go into a couple of extra things, and I skipped over these. These are actually valuable if maybe there's some type of virality going on. Maybe you were mentioning a certain particular blog post, or maybe you were mentioned by a publisher. Well, you can see that information in real-time overview. Real-time overview, it gives you information on people that have visited your site in the last 30 minutes. So you can see here, 137 users last 30 minutes, 24 active users in the last 5 minutes. And you can see where those users are located as well. You can also see, hey, what sources did those users come through? So like I said, if a publisher, for example, New York Times just, mentioned, you were just mentioning an article, in the New York Times, you can see that they came from that source. You can also see the pages that they're on. You can see the events that are happening currently on your site, and you can see the key events that are happening on your site as well. So real-time pages is exactly what it is. It also shows you the number of users on those particular pages in detail. And that was real-time pages. So the next thing that I wanted to get into is the Explore tab. Now, the Explore tab is what you can see here is where you can build reports. They have freeform, they have funnel exploration, which you kind of saw in the customer journey, and then they also have path exploration as well. So you can see what based on the events that you may have created, that you may have customized, you can actually see the different different steps that that person took to your ultimate conversion. I'm just going to go in the template gallery, and you can see some of the things that they have here, like, hey, like acquisition, key events, user behavior. This is very, this can get very detailed, which we don't have too much time for, but I'll just click on this one to just show you like what a report would necessarily look like in the merch shop. So now you can see, hey, this is, these are my top channels, and these are the ones that have the highest bounce rates. So you can see like, hey, there for paid video, there's 100% bounce rate. For unassigned, 92, organic video, 42. But you can see what is going on with your site within reporting for these different channels. Like I said, this is an acquisition default report. So you can customize it however you want with these things on the side. Different segments, different dimensions. You can use source medium, you can use device, you can use all that. Same thing with metrics. It doesn't have to be bounce rate sessions, engage sessions. It can be a multitude of items. It can be engagement rate. It can be average engagement time, things like that. You can also add filters like, hey, I only want to see the data for source mediums within organic search, or I only want to see campaigns within paid search, and you can do that with these filters. So that's a quick overview of Explore. Like I said, could be a whole nother webinar on this. So I will move on to showing you advertising. And get out of this. And you can see what I like to see in the different conversion paths. So you can see like the different event paths that people are taking on your site. Like, hey, they're going through direct or they're going through paid search. You can see like the different attribution models that people are having. So you can see here they have last click, they have and then data driven. So you can see how many individuals are coming through, for example, organic search on last click, which means that all the credit gets to the last session, which is organic. Or you can even take a look at data driven, where organic search may have been part of the customer journey, but not the last part of the customer journey. And it gives credit to organic search using their data modeling on the back end. So this can give you some interesting insights on the different touch points that that may happen on your website. Now that was advertising. Now I'm just going to get into the admin panel a little bit, just give you a little quick overview of that. And you can see at the top your account details, how to give access to particular people who need access to Google Analytics, property details to see. You can also give access at the account level, or you can just give it at the property level. So maybe you're an individual with multiple websites. You don't have to give access to all your websites at the account level. You can just give access at the property level. The most important thing here at the moment is probably the product links, because I know some people use, for example, Google Ads. Some people use Google Search Console. Well, this is where you can link your Google Ads data with your Google Search Console data, and they can share data across platforms to one another, so you can get better insights, and it can also optimize for the different key events that you have within your GA4 account. Debug view is also something that I use pretty often because that allows me to test different events on my site using Google Tag Manager. Also can be a wormhole to get into, but debug view allows you to test out different events that are happening on your site. You can customize the channel groups. Maybe you don't like the way paid videos being categorized. You can change it there. And custom definitions allows you to create different custom metrics and also custom dimensions as well. But that is GA4. We talked about, sources, devices, demographics. We talked about your top pages and events. We talked about your top products and how those products are performing. And then we went over, we had some extra time to talk about the real-time report, the exploring tool, and now just the admin phase, to connect different Google Ads platforms and to know how to turn and learn how to test at events, learn how to change your channels if you want to, and then also create custom metrics and dimensions if you would like. Yeah, but with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the webinar, but I will pass it back to Devin for some Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nate. I really appreciate that. I'll move this back over to the slides, but I recognize that with some of these questions, it might make sense to jump back into GA and walk us through how to troubleshoot or answer some of these questions. But first of all, I just want to express gratitude. I appreciate you stopping by and sharing your knowledge. A lot of information. I feel like analytics is sometimes that giant mountain of scariness where people are like, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to interpret this. So I appreciate you walking us through and showing us some of those things. So the first question I have here, someone asked, if I see a spike in traffic, how do I figure out what caused it?
So the best way to figure that out is you go over to your reports, you go over to your acquisition again, and then you go into traffic acquisition, and you'll be able to see some of the spikes in traffic. So right now we have total check, but if I uncheck total and if I click on plot rows, you can see where some of the spikes in traffic happen. Now, if I uncheck these and click plot rows, I mean, it'll show your overarching traffic. So it's like, hey, I got a spike on October 28th. Well, let's go to October 28th and see how that spike in traffic happened. So now we can see what our top channels were on October 28th. So it looks like direct and email caused the spikes in traffic. My assumption is if I uncheck this and plot everything here, you're probably going to see the spike come from email, which is my guess. And let me just spread this out just a little bit more. And it looks like, that spike was coming from the emails. You see nothing right here, and then you see a spike. So that would answer your question, for example, on October 28th.
That's really cool. And I like how visual it is. I'm definitely a visual person myself. So being able to see that, like, it looks like email usually doesn't have much traffic and then it jumps up. So you can see that delta.
Mm-hmm.
The next question I have here is, how can I tell which pages on my site are causing people to leave quickly?
Yeah. Another thing I actually didn't mention is there's actually AI in the search bar above. So you can say pages with highest bounce rate, because bounce rate lets you know like how many people are going to this particular page and then leaving. So you can see landing pages. About landing page. So this will give you a little quick synopsis of those landing pages by bounce rate. Where you can also see that right here in landing page, where you have your landing page, and I won't be able to switch it here, but you can switch to hey, instead of showing me active users, I want to see bounce rate. And you'll be able to see the pages that are having the highest bounce rate within the landing page overview.
Can you just briefly walk through how you would do that? I know you said you can't in this demo, but how do you add the columns? Can you just cover that again real quick?
Yeah, so there will be in the top right-hand corner where you'll be able to edit the report.
Okay.
I mean, you can also open the, oh shoot, it looks like I won't be able to open it in Explorer. But you can open it in either Explorer or within a landing page, and you'll be able to select the metrics that you want.
Okay, cool.
At least here, it looks like it was able to open. So if I go to metrics and I go to bounce rate, you'll be able, I'll be able to check that, and it'll appear here.
Very cool.
And then let me add it here. Bam. And now we can see as we scroll here to the right, we can see the bounce rate of some of those landing pages. Yeah. So that's how Explorer can be very helpful when it comes to knowing how to find landing pages with the highest bounce rate.
And
Sometimes the search can be valuable. You can also add the metrics within the landing page tool, or you can use the Explorer tool.
yeah, and I think as far as a practical application goes, if you're a small business out there and you're saying like, hey, I feel like I want to redo some of my website or some pages in my website, this can be a great way to prioritize which sites or which pages you redesign or that you revisit first, because the ones with the highest bounce rate, those are the ones that your visitors are on the least amount of time. So um, that can be a good way to set that prioritization.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question I have is: are there recommended benchmarks for engagement time or bounce rate in GA4?
Yeah, I mean, actually, just sticking here, when you see a bounce rate that is either below 10% or above 90%, you definitely want to take a look at it. Like this, for example, in this demo, the /shop/new, because the bounce rate is so low, that might be a tracking issue, or it could be something else going on the site. It's kind of I would kind of look at bounce rate and engagement rate kind of on a bell curve, where if it's too high or too low, it's usually an outlier, and it's something that you want to investigate. That can be, hey, maybe something's not loading on the page. Hey, maybe this page is redirecting, and the redirect isn't redirecting where it should. So there can be a lot of factors that play into it, but I would say between 10 and 90%.
Okay. And I'm going to add my own question to that. Does the bounce rate factor in for load times? For example, like if I've got a web page that has a ton of pictures, let's say I'm a wedding photographer and I'm uploading uncompressed images, which takes a ton of bandwidth, would that factor into the bounce rate? If someone says, hey, this page is taking way too long to load, I'm going to leave? Or does that not come into play until after the page is fully loaded?
Before the page is fully loaded, most Google Analytics tags fire off before the page fully loads, because it wants to know, hey, this person went to this particular page on the site. It didn't interact with that page at all. And we want to be able to let them know that nobody's interacting with that page on the site.
Understandable. So again, just if we're looking for more practical applications, if you do have that high bounce rate and you're looking for things that might be causing it, it could be content, but it also could be just the technical side of things where the site's not loading quickly or there's a glitch with your website. So
Mm-hmm.
I love kind of taking that extra step and thinking about how we can apply this to some of these practical applications.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Next question I have is: what types of events should I be tracking on a small business or portfolio site?
Yeah, I think that goes back to what I was saying initially. If you're an e-commerce site, you want to track, purchases, product performance, things like that. If you're a blog site, it's a hiking site. Maybe you want to track the affiliate links to maybe the shoes that you talk about, or the hiking gear that you talk about. If you're a blog, maybe you want to see how people are interacting with your affiliates on your affiliate links on that site, or how many people are signing up to be subscribers to your email list, things like that. So depending on what type of site you are, whether you're a blog, maybe your affiliate, maybe your e-commerce, maybe you're even SaaS where you want to track leads, those are the type of events you want to make. Not only events on your site, but you want to make those primary conversions key events on your site, because then you're able to see key event conversion rates, things like that on your website.
Very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Next question I have is: how do I track button clicks, form submissions, or newsletter signups? And that seems like it kind of goes along with what you just said with events.
Yeah, but yeah, to get a little bit more practical of how that's done, most of those things are done within Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is it's a container where you put all your different codes onto your website. So let's just say you're running Facebook ads. that Facebook pixel code would go within Google Tag Manager.
Mm.
And then let's say, hey, you want to set up an event for Facebook where you want to say, where you want to track leads from your website and send it to Facebook Pixel so you can optimize performance for Facebook ads. Well, you would have that Facebook Pixel fire off on those codes within Google Tag Manager. So it is a little bit more detailed, but that is how you would track button clicks, form fills, things like that on your site. Me personally, I wouldn't recommend the default event tracking that is out of the box with GA4, just because I haven't found that it doesn't fire off every time, so it's not as accurate. So I
Mm.
would recommend firing off on having your events fire off in Google Tag Manager and manage everything there.
Okay.
Mm.
Very good. All right, we've got a few more questions and a little bit more time, so we're going to keep going through these. Can I use GA4 to see if updates to my navigation menu are helping users find content faster?
Yeah, so that goes back to the event tracking that can be done within Google Tag Manager as well. You can say, hey, I want to track, clicks within the top navigation. You can set those up as nav clicks, as a nav click event, and then you can set like the click text or the click URL to that click event. So within that nav click event, you can see what people are clicking on and how often they're clicking on it. And just as you saw earlier in the webinar, you can break it down by category, channel, all that stuff.
Right. Okay, cool. And let's see, next question. When should I use the real-time report and what insights can I get from it?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, with that real-time report, you can get some pretty good insights from things that may have just launched. Maybe you launched a new page. You want to see how that's doing and how many people visited that page. Maybe you're doing like a viral promotion, things like that. So you're able to see all that information within here in real-time view and where those people are coming from.
I think I've also seen this used in kind of a status check to see like, hey, did my website go down? Like if you're used to having 100 visitors in the last 30 minutes and it goes to 0, then like clearly something's going on with the website. Also, I think I've seen it potentially with some fraud issues where it's like, okay, I'm selling lawn care service in Houston, Texas, right? And if all of a sudden I start getting thousands and thousands of visitors from overseas, there's two options. One, there's a bunch of people that are not anywhere near Houston that are suddenly very interested in lawn care there, or it's possible that my site is coming under a attack that from a bad actor that's mobilizing like a bot army or something, and so it comes in from IPs all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, back me up, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I've seen it kind of used in that way as well, but not nearly as common like that.
No, you're entirely correct, and and that's what a lot of that's what's looked at a lot of times. Maybe even if you catch it late, sometimes you want to look at the breakdown by country. Sometimes that gives you a pretty good insight of like, hey, yesterday we saw a good amount of traffic come from this country. But if you can't catch it in real time, there are other ways to catch that as well.
Yeah. And if you don't have like a very specifically local company like lawn care, if you're selling like t-shirts or something, if you see a spike in an area that you didn't know you had customers, then you can also use that and say like, oh, maybe I should make some of my marketing that's a little bit more specific for Oregon, or it looks like maybe Hungary, it looks like. Or Austria. Yeah. So, like, maybe it's like, okay, maybe you might want to put some marketing dollars into those regions if they're interested in your products and if you ship internationally. So,
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you can use this. Got a few more questions here that I want to get to. The next one is, how do I know whether my traffic sources are sending high quality visitors instead of just high volume? It kind of is a perfect segue from what we were just talking about.
Yeah. One is taking a look at the real time and viewing those, viewing those by source. But I probably would say the best indicator is looking at engagement rate and bounce rate of that traffic. I've seen, multiple individuals, multiple clients when I was a freelancer where, some a particular Facebook ad or something like that got a lot of bot traffic, or a paid search ad or something like that. So that's where I would look to know that that's a good indicator of if you're bringing in quality traffic or not, and also the engagement rate. If it's 1 second, it's probably not the best traffic.
Yeah, that makes sense. And can you show again just really briefly how to tell if it is bot traffic or where that engagement rate is?
Yeah. Let's
I,
go
kn-
back
I
to
know you
that.
covered this previously before, but I'm just to kind of give a little bit of a more of an answer for this question.
Yeah. Now, what if I did default channel group in here? Let's do that. Confirm. And let's add it here. So now we're seeing, I don't know. I would have to look and see what this unassigned what's going into unassigned, but you can see
Yeah,
unassigned has that 95% bounce rate. It's like, okay, what is that traffic that is coming to our site? 2,000 users out of 21,000. You got about 10% there. It's like, what's going on with that traffic there? So that's an indication of something to investigate.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. The next question I have is what's the best way to compare page performance before and after I make website changes?
Yeah, that's using that metric, not metric, but slider. So now I'm going to switch this back from session to landing page, and now we can see the difference in landing pages. So we're seeing here, for example, for, let's just say, for the home page, we're seeing 7,000 versus 8,000. But what I would really like to look is at the bounce rate. So it's like it went from 27 the previous previous 4 days, previous 4 days, and now it's at 24. So it's like, okay, now we're seeing a difference. We're seeing a lower bounce rate, which means that people are engaging with the site more. So that can be a positive indicator of, hey, the changes that we made to the homepage are actually allowing people to find what they need, and they're going to other pages in the site and ultimately
Right.
making a purchase.
Very cool. By the way, I am not an analytics expert like you are, so I just have to say it sometimes is like art watching, just like click around. Like it would take me probably 10 times as long to be like, all right, hold on, what am I looking for? Click on that. Let me compare that. Click on that. So it's I'm just saying I appreciate everything you're doing and walking us through all of this.
Of course, man.
Um,
Years of
we
practice.
it shows. We just have a few more minutes left and one or two more questions. So we'll try to get through those. Can I connect GA4 to other tools like Google Ads, Search Console, or my email marketing platform?
Yep. And that was in the admin panel that I was able to go through. You're able to connect Google AdSense, Google Ads, Ads Manager, Search Console, Floodlight, all that good stuff. So you're able to connect all that here. Not seeing anything here, but you would sign in with the account that you have Google Search Console associated. Click link, and you're done.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it super easy. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of those are Google products. Are you able to integrate with non-Google products as well? Like if I'm using Microsoft Teams or and I guess not. Maybe that's not a great example, but
Unfortunately, you're not, unless you have like a third-party tool that allows you to connect from Google Analytics through that third-party tool.
right.
That's what my experience. You're not able to do like direct connections like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Google wants to keep you in their ecosystem, so that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
I think someone asked how we interpret engagement rate versus bounce rate. I think you touched on that already. Is there anything else you'd like to mention with that? I think we've kind of gone over that a couple times, but I just want to make sure we have a chance to answer that.
Yeah, I would just say the rule of thumb is engagement rate is the inverse of bounce rate. So, so you have a bounce rate of 25%. That means you have an engagement rate of 75%. That's the easiest way to look at it.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And the last question I think we're going to wrap up on, are there recommended dashboards or templates that simplify the reporting for beginners?
Yes, there are. And in Explorer, you did see there is a template gallery that I was working off of to show you the different reporting. So that's the reporting that you can do within GA4. But then there is another tool that Google has, and it's called Looker Studio, and a lot of reports are built out in there. I would say there is a learning curve to building out reports in Looker Studio, but they also have templates and stuff that you can use as well.
Awesome. And I know that Google historically is really good about giving an education. So I'm sure if
Yeah.
you did a search to say like, hey, how do I build my own custom template for Google GA4? I bet there'd be a handful of YouTube videos and resources that they offer that can walk you through that.
Yep.
Um, awesome. Well, I think that brings us to everything that we wanted to cover today. I'm gonna throw this slide up just as we close out. If you have any additional assistance you want to get from Bluehost, we've got a couple of resources here. Nate, I just want to reiterate one more time my appreciation that you stopped by and walked us through this. This can be overwhelming for a lot of people, and I think the way you walked through it was super helpful and educational. So, thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise. And thank you to everyone that stopped by and participated in today's webinar. As always, we want these to be educational and engaging for you. So, um, thank you for participating and for asking questions and throwing something in the chat. So. Thank you so much, and we hope to catch you next time. Bye,
Bye, y'all.
everybody.